All right, you heard the bell and you know what time it is. It's time for a techmadeezy head-to-head, and the boxing gloves are off, as you can see. And we've got the Milwaukee M18 mower, powerful mower. And we've got the EGO Select Cut brand new aluminum deck. Now, yeah, the EGO has a dual blade system and the Milwaukee doesn't. And some people might think that's unfair, but that's not true, because the Milwaukee is a really strong competitor. And you know what? You might be thinking, I want to buy one of these mowers. Which one should I get? This video has timestamps. It's going to have rounds. It's going to have bells, ding, ding, to help you make the decision. It's going to be a fun video. It's going to be detailed. It's going to be long. But guys, let's go ahead and get this head-to-head started. All right, so please listen to this message. You know, before we start this head-to-head, I have to let you know that it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. I do the video editing, and I do this video over probably about a week's time. You know, after work, I come home. Yeah, I actually work a full-time job. So I just want to let you know that, all right? Of course, there's going to be timestamps in the description. This is a very detailed head-to-head. Really information if you're thinking of buying one of these, or you just want to learn more. You know, maybe you just like mowers like me, because I've got a lot of mowers. So again, just keep that in mind as you watch this video. And really, if it helps you, if it makes you laugh, definitely give us that thumbs up and hopefully subscribe to our channel. All right, but we're going to go ahead and get started with this head-to-head. Here is what we're going to be covering in this video. A lot of stuff. And hit pause if you want to review this. But we're going to go ahead and move on and have some fun. Now, one thing to think about before you make your purchasing decision, you want to make sure you look at the ecosystems. You don't want to just pick up a mower and then go and pick up a trimmer from another brand and pick up a blower from another brand. You don't want to do that. If you've already got the batteries, you might as well stay in the ecosystems. EGO is currently at 80 plus tools. Milwaukee is currently at 250 plus tools. Now, Milwaukee has a lot of actual tools like drills and stuff like that too. Both strong. It's April of 2024. But do your research before you make your decision on which one. We're going to now take time and go over what's included real quick. And then we're going to go over detailed specs, right? You want to know RPM. You want to know maybe the wattage for the chargers, a little bit more about the batteries. So we're going to cover that in a moment. But let's go ahead and cover what's included and take a quick look. Round one. What's included? All right, I'm going to start off with EGO, and EGO is going to be a lengthy story. Now, why is EGO going to be a lengthy story? I've done tons of reviews on EGO mowers, if you know my channel. And the interesting part is when they first launch a mower, and a year later, it's different. So I'll give you an example. I did a review for a mower when it first launched, and then a year later, they actually adjusted the actual height adjustment. So it went from 7 to 8. Think about that. So it was originally launched with 7 adjustments on height adjustment, and then about a year later, the same model basically had 8, right? So they just add things to existing models. And so when I show you this mower today, April 2024, a year later, some of the stuff that's included will be different. Now, why am I saying that? Because when I got this mower and I did the unboxing, if you want to see my original video, I'll put a link in the description. But it came with 2 blades installed, right? The upper blade and then the lower blade. Now, the lower blade is a mulching blade. And they gave me a second free mulching blade. And that's it here. You see this? This is the second free mulching blade. Now, why do I need 2? They probably should have just included the high lift blade. They always did that, but they didn't. And you know what's funny? After I did that review, I found this. It was like this initially. And I found this. I turned this around, and it said if you register the mower within 90 days, we will give you a free high lifting bagging blade. So I did that. I called up And it took a little while, but I got this. Okay, so you know, maybe a year down the road it'll be included. It was always included, to tell you the truth, but then they're doing weird stuff now. As you can see, I've got the mulch plug, right? But I don't have a side discharge, so that didn't come with it. And I don't know if I'm going to have it when I want to do the side discharge, you know, demonstration, because the Milwaukee comes with it. Now, it comes with a 10 amp hour battery, phenomenal battery, and you can even get up to a 12 amp hour battery if you want, purchased separately. But this comes with a 10 amp hour battery with a fuel gauge. Love that. And it comes with a smart charger that has the same fuel gauge, but you can also connect this to Wi-Fi, and then you can actually, you know, see if your battery is fully charged or whatever. So, you know, I don't really use that functionality, but that's a smart charger, okay? So you do get your booklets, and that's the background on this mower. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Milwaukee and what they give you. So you do get your manual. You don't get like a manual for the battery and a manual for the mower. So it's interesting how they give you, you know, one manual, which is fine. You get a rapid charger. It's a dual rapid charger. You get two 12 amp hour batteries. All right. Now this also has a fuel gauge. So you've got 4 bars, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hard to see, you know, in the sun right now. Whereas this specific one's got 5 bars here and 5 bars here. One day we'll have percentage on the battery. That'll be really cool. Now you also get the mulch plug. And again, you get the rear side discharge. Interesting, but I thought I'd share that with you. Sorry it was long, but I thought those details are really important. Something I wanted to show you also, this is the EGO part list, and it's right next to the manual when you go to the EGO Mower on their website. As you can see on the bottom right-hand corner, they're showing a rear side discharge. But believe it or not, number one, it is not included with the kit. So when you buy the kit with the battery and the charger, it doesn't come with it. And this is what the rep said to me at EGO. I called late April 2024. Number two, they said, although it's on the part list, it has not been manufactured. So I don't know what that says. Will it be sold separately? Will it even be manufactured? I'm just showing you this so you could see all the research that I do. Now, I want to bring this up also because Milwaukee gives you what they call a 21-inch mower blade pre-installed, as you can see on top, and we'll take a look at that later on. But they call that a mower blade, and on the bottom you have an option for what they call the high lift blade, and you can see the part numbers on here as well. So it's interesting because the top one that's included actually looks like a high lift blade, and the bottom one that's an option actually looks like a mulching blade. So yeah, just something I thought I would share with you. Round 2, specs and features. All right, we're going to now talk about specs, and then we're going to dive into our close look. Again, don't forget there are timestamps below, but this is really important. So let's talk about cost. I'm going to talk about full price cost. So the EGO model number LM2206SP is $1199. All right, so that's $1,200. Now the Milwaukee is $1,099. Model number 2823-22HD. Now these both have brushless motors. All right, the Milwaukee, to my knowledge, is a 36-volt system that requires 2 18-volt batteries. The EGO is a 56-volt system requiring 1 battery. Now, max RPM on the Milwaukee is 3,300. And on the EGO, new this year, a max is 3,350. Now, we also have the wattage for the EGO, which is 1,400 watts. And they don't mention wattage for the Milwaukee. Now, what about torque, right? You know, when you're pushing through some real thick grass. Well, the Milwaukee is 10 foot-pounds of torque, and the EGO is 11.1 foot-pounds of torque this year on the newer model. As far as drive, they are both rear-wheel drive and both push-start. They both offer 3-in-1 mulching, right? rear side discharge and bagging. But again, the EGO didn't come with the rear side discharge. So that's just something to know. The Milwaukee is a single blade system and the EGO is a dual blade system. We are going to take a close look at those in a little while. One thing I want to mention also is the EGO is a smart mower. It actually has Bluetooth, and you'll be able to connect it to the EGO app, and I will cover that later on in the video. The Milwaukee doesn't have those features, and I'm pretty sure most people that use mowers don't really want a smart mower, but we'll see. We'll check that out later on. As far as self-propel, they both have self-propel options. The EGO starts at 0.9 miles per hour and goes up to 3.1. And the Milwaukee, I don't have the starting position, but it does go up to 4 miles per hour. So it is faster on the self-propel. Decks are both to be 22-inch decks. The Milwaukee is a 22-inch steel deck, 15-gauge stamped steel. And the EGO is 22-inch cast aluminum. Now, I will tell you that EGO does give you a limited lifetime warranty on the deck. Milwaukee doesn't mention that at all as far as the deck is concerned. For deck height adjustment, the Milwaukee has one lever right here on the right side of the mower in the back. Again, we're going to cover that in greater detail. The EGO now has two, not four, but two. One for the front that adjusts the front, one for the back that adjusts the back. Continuing on with height adjustments, EGO offers 8 positions in the lever on the front and the back, and Milwaukee offers 7 positions on the lever in the back of the mower. They both cut 1 inch all the way to 4 inches of grass. Handlebar positions, they both have 3 positions. The lowest position would be good if you're short. The highest position would be good if you're tall. Blades included, as you can see, the Milwaukee does include 1 blade. The EGO actually includes 3, mainly because it has an upper, a lower, and they gave me a free mulching blade. And then, obviously, after registering, I got the high lift blade, so that would be 4 blades. Now let's talk about batteries. The EGO has a 10 amp hour battery. It is a 56 volt battery with 5 fuel gauges. And the Milwaukee, they give you 2 12 amp hour batteries. They're both 18 volt batteries with 4 fuel gauges on them. All right, EGO gives you a single charger that will charge 1 battery up to 700 watts with a fuel gauge. And keep in mind, it is a smart charger. It can be connected via Wi-Fi. And the Milwaukee charger is a dual charger. And to my knowledge, it is 99 watts. Now, the runtime claim on both of these, EGO claims up to 70 minutes with a 10 amp hour battery, and Milwaukee claims up to 60 minutes with 2 12 amp hour batteries. As far as the wheels, EGO has 9-inch in the front and 9-inch in the back on this newer mower. Milwaukee has 10-inch on the back and 8-inch on the front. All right, as far as LED lights, EGO has 2 sets of 3 LEDs for a total of 6 LED lights, and only in the front. Now, Milwaukee has 4 sets of 3 LEDs, 2 on the sides and 2 in the front. That's a total of 12 LEDs, and that might be brighter at night. We're going to be doing a demonstration in the evening on LED lights, so look forward to that. Now, IP rating, EGO states IPX4, which is protected from splashing water. Now, Milwaukee didn't have a statement on the website or in the manual, so I did contact them, and I am waiting to hear back. I will put something on the screen if I hear anything. Now, weight on the mower is very interesting. The weight on the EGO is 83.8 pounds with no battery. Now, the Milwaukee is 78 pounds with no battery. But if you put the batteries in these guys, EGO is 91 pounds with the 10 amp hour battery, and Milwaukee is 85 pounds with the 2 5 amp hour batteries installed. Warranty, EGO seems to offer a better warranty. They have a 5-year warranty on the mower, and they have a 5-year warranty on the battery, but you have to register the battery. If you don't, you'll only have a 3-year. Bushel capacity on the bagger. So EGO is 2.5 bushels and Milwaukee is 2 bushels.
Round 3, close look.
Let's go ahead and get ready for our close look. So powertrain, right? The motors, obviously EGO with 11.1 foot-pounds of torque, Milwaukee 10 foot-pounds of torque. EGO 3,350 RPM and the Milwaukee at 3,300 RPM. Very, very similar, but as you can see, EGO has stepped up their game this year on this mower. Let's go ahead and take a look at the battery compartments and how they work. So this does lock in place. It has a lid so you can see your battery meter. We'll show you that in a moment. And it also stays open. I like that. Here's your release button for your battery. Here's the connector, and it's actually covered, which is nice. And as this goes down, you can see the actual, connectors. This also has draining holes. So just in case some water gets in here somehow, it will drain onto the bottom. And the battery connector is actually on the top. So, and as you can see, it's designed pretty well. You take the battery, put it in, push it down. To release it, press this button and grab it. But one thing I like also, and it is a sunny day, so we'll try this. I'm going to zoom in and see if we can see the lights. All right, I'm going to press this button. And yep, you can see it. Even in the bright sunny day, you can see your battery gauge. That's pretty darn cool. Here's a Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee opens from the front. You do have to hold it. It won't stay open. All right, your battery connectors are right there. I believe those are drainage holes as well. So you've got 2 drainage holes if I'm not mistaken. But the battery connectors are right there. And these batteries basically will go on. You just take the battery, slide it in, and the release mechanism is on the battery. So you just take it and pull it out. Locked right in. And let me take the second one, lock right in. Again, take it out, put it in. So they do have a good system. The batteries are also raised in the compartment, and you're not going to be able to see the fuel gauge through this, but I thought I'd show it to you and compare it. Little correction, by the way, they do have a fuel gauge you can see while you're mowing. It's right here on the back, so I apologize. All right, but you can easily see that all the way up here, by the way, as well. Let's take a look at the wheels. Take the camera out so we can get it closer. So we've got 10-inch in the back. We have 8-inch in the front. And these are ball bearing wheels. They will roll very nicely. It does kind of have some flexibility. It's got an interesting pattern. And the motors are obviously in the back of the wheels, so you'll know that, which is nice. But a nice wheel, again, 8-inch in the front, nice pattern. And I always like to look at the inside also to kind of see that pattern that they do for reinforcing and strength. So it's pretty nice, Now let's take a look at the EGO wheels. Now these are both 9-inch wheels. Okay, again, ball bearing. So 9-inch in the back, 9-inch in the front. Different pattern, a little bit of flexibility, not too much. All right, I don't know if that makes a difference, but it seems to have a decent pattern. I don't know if these are thicker. I'm going to take a moment and look at that as well. But here's the front. All right. Here's the inside. And let me just measure the width real quick. Quick measure of the width of the wheels. So we're a little shy of 2 inches on here. As you can see, just a little shy of 2 inches. And same, the back looks the same. Let's take a look at the EGOs real quick. And here we're actually slightly over 2 inches. If you look at the rim right here of the tire, a little shaded, but not bad. All right, so a little wider tire on the wheels of the EGO. So we just covered the wheels, but one thing I wanted to say is the Milwaukee has play in it. So if you hear that, and I don't know if you could see it that well, but obviously the axle that connects the wheels, at least in the back, has some play. The EGO, it doesn't have that. So we just hear the movement. We don't hear the banging, you know? Whereas here, I don't know. I just thought I'd bring that up. Taking a look at the LED lights, you'll notice the Milwaukee has 4 sets of lights. Now, these are 3 in a set. One on the side, one in the front, another in the front, and another in the back. It kind of adds to more light all around the mower. EGO's got 6 LEDs, 2 sets of 3. This is 1 set here and 1 set here. Now, not the biggest feature used. Most people don't mow when it gets dark, but some people have no choice. We'll do an LED light test coming up in a moment so you could see what they look like. All right, so it's getting dark. It is not pitch black. Now, this camera does a phenomenal job of lighting things up, but believe me, it is darker. And so I thought I would show you the lights on these two. Now, don't forget, the Milwaukee has lights on the side and on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Milwaukee first. All right. Now that bush there kind of helps me to see how far the lights get thrown. But as you can see, you've got lights on the sides of the mower and on the front. Now I'm going to leave them on for, actually, you know what, let me turn them off for a minute. And let me turn on the EGO ones. Now that's the battery meter on the back of the Milwaukee. And let me turn on the EGO ones. And we can see, you know, which one kind of spreads out a little bit more. Now this is definitely focused towards the front. And let me turn the Milwaukee one on now. All right. And so the Milwaukee one is bright in the front. The EGO one definitely gets thrown out a little bit further because you could see the way it lights up the bush. All right. So if I turn the EGO one off, right, you could see the Milwaukee. All right, lights up the area. Right, definitely. And the EGO one by itself, again, nothing on the sides, but really where you're facing. So the bush kind of, maybe they both do a good job further out. So this is kind of like an even, you know, fight of the lights, because, you know, I do like the surrounding lights on the Milwaukee. So I think it's pretty fair. Milwaukee maybe has another point or two because the lights are surrounding the mower. So there you go. There's our evening light test. Now we're going to just kind of look at the handles, how they collapse and how long they are if you're thinking about putting these in the truck bed. All right. Now another thing I'll do real quick is show you the actual handles on the mower. So, you know, for convenience, Milwaukee gives you a beefy handle right here, and they give you another one here. If you just need to lift this up and throw it on your truck bed, maybe you're not even closing it. EGO has one here in the front. All right, now I don't see one in the back, so I'm assuming that's made mainly when the handle's closed, so you can grab the front and maybe grab the back at the same time. Let's start by closing the EGO I'll close the Milwaukee, and then we'll take a look and do some measuring. So closing the EGO, it's actually got this lever here. And this is not just to close it, it's also to adjust the height of the actual handle. So I want you to see that if we look closely in this corner, you've got 3 height adjustments. It's a little dark, but 1, 2, and 3. Right? And I will actually demonstrate both mowers so you can see the, the highest, medium, and lowest positions next to each other. All right? I'll have that come up right after this. But all you do is push this in and it will drop. All right, now that's at its lowest. And then it automatically locks. The pins automatically go in and lock. As you can see here, we are now on the lowest. All right, so again, we're going to demonstrate so you can see what it looks like. And if you're tall or you're short, that can be helpful. But we're going to grab this and we're going to tilt this. And it's going to go all the way here into a locking position. Now again, there is a spot right here for the locking position, this little hole. So as soon as it goes down, it locks in place. And again, heavy mowers, but we're going to compare the Milwaukee real quick. So let me go back this way and look at the Milwaukee. And Milwaukee basically has 3 positions also. So you'll see here that it's on the middle one now. Now 1, 2, and 3. And again, all you do is turn these. Then you got to turn the other one. You got to hold the bar at the same time. And then when you lower it, the pins won't grab in. You actually have to turn the pins in. And now it's at its lowest position. It does require a little more work because you've got to turn these and all that, but it seems to be a pretty solid system. Let's turn these the other way, and let's go ahead and tilt this all the way back, lay it down, and once I get to this position, I then pretty much just want to lock this in place. You can see here, it's locked in place. Again, you do have to turn these, again, a little more work, but that's what the Milwaukee looks like. But let's put these 2 next to each other and measure. So here we go. Very, very similar in length. Not a big deal, to be honest with you. Now, one thing I am a little concerned about is if this was in my truck bed and it was banging around and this thing snapped, this would be a little bit better. But, I'm a little concerned about this piece being here, right? It's really not an issue there. But, I mean, I'm not even going to measure because realistically they're very similar. I mean, maybe I will measure for a moment, but you're going to go from end to end. So you've got this here, you've got this here, right? So what do we have? Let's just kind of start with this guy and come up with an estimate. I'm going to call it an estimate. I am estimating 49 to 50 inches. Yeah, probably about 50 inches in overall length for really both of these. I mean, it's just so similar. I'm going to leave it at that. This is the handles at the highest position. I'm going to lower it to the next position. That is the second position right there. I'll do it one more time so we can see the last position for the lowest handle height. That's the lowest handle height. So if you're short, the EGO might actually be better for you because you can put your hands on the sides. You don't have to put them on the top. But there you go, the lowest position. This is a perfect time to look under the deck, all right? And no batteries are installed. Always make sure you take your batteries out when you're done, or take your batteries out when you're going to be lifting and looking at the deck or sharpening your blades. It's time to get intimate with the decks and the blades. EGO to the left and Milwaukee to the right. Now, EGO's got that limited lifetime warranty on the deck, and Milwaukee doesn't state anything like that in the manual or the website. The Milwaukee is 15 gauge steel. The EGO is cast aluminum. Aluminum was supposed to last longer and not rust. I guess depending if the coating comes off of this deck, it could possibly rust. That's just, you know, some good information from an expert. Anyway, we're going to start off here with the Milwaukee. I'll talk to you a little bit about mower blades here. I want to bring up an image, and you can see that the blade that comes with the Milwaukee is a simple blade. I wouldn't really call this a high lift blade. I mean, realistically, it's too thin to be a high lift blade, right? So they call that a mower blade. Now, they do sell an optional blade, as you can see from the image in front of you right now, and they call it a high lift blade. It kind of looks like a mulching blade, but that's optional. That's sold separately, all right? But let's take a measurement on the blade itself as best we can. This is not easy to do, but we're going to try our best. So I'm going to probably do like an edge to edge, and I won't be able to go inside because of the lip, but it's a little shy. It's probably like 20 3/4, if you see what I'm dealing with there in the right hand corner. Okay, now the deck itself inside, if I can lock this for a minute. All right, the deck inside looks like it's about 21 inches. You know, again, I'm just hugging the corner there, but the deck inside looks about 21 inches inside. So this is a little shy of that, all right? If I measure the outside, this is a rim, so it's going to be a little unfair, but the rim is a drop over 22 inches, as you can see there, just a drop. Now, the nice thing about this deck is its efficiency. I mean, this is a clean, simple deck. There isn't a lot of stuff going on. And so what's good about that is when you are cutting and you're mulching, that grass is going to go around and continue to get cut and fall on the ground and become food for your lawn, believe it or not. Now, you don't want to have huge chunks. At that point, you might want to go ahead and bag up what you have on your grass. But if you cut it in increments, say if you cut often, it's one thing. If you don't cut often, you might have to mow a few times and cut, you know, just little by little. And if it's too much on the lawn, sitting on the lawn, you might want to bag that. You don't want to suffocate your lawn, but you do want to feed it. All right, but I like this, I'll be honest with you. Now, there is a part here that it can kind of get clumpy and stuck in. I see that. All right, and you do have a gap here as well. Now, that concerns me because while we're cutting, we're going to want to see if there's any grass escaping. All right, I'll zoom in a little more. You can see that's pretty gappy if I can actually put my finger down there. All right, so just so you'll know, looks nice overall. I don't see a gap here. Well, I do see a small one there. Again, a real small one, nothing major, but nice, clean, you know, deck for you know, mulching. Really nice. Now let's look down further. I'd like to look and see if there's any wires sticking out or anything like that. One thing really nice about a battery mower is you don't have to worry about gas or oil. So let's take a good look at this. So you've got a wire that's clipped along here. Look at that. You do have exposed wire there. So that's interesting to see. Some exposed wire. I'm trying not to block. This is, I believe, the motor for the rear rear wheels here, closed really well. But I don't like that. So I'll zoom in more. I don't like that. All right. Otherwise, it does look okay, but I don't like those wires like that. That's just me. We'll leave Milwaukee laying down for a moment, and we'll come here and look at the EGO. All right, so the EGO deck is improved. There's not a lot of junk going on here. 3-bolt system. Milwaukee has a 1-bolt. Now there's 3 bolts for 2 blades. All right, let's measure the blades for a minute. Again, a little fumbly. We'll do our best. I'm going to measure this mulch blade. By the way, this is a mulch blade, and this is the upper blade. And edge to edge, almost very similar to the previous. But let me see if I could hug a little bit. This is not easy. Let me lock this. All right, and then let's see if we can get this measurement. Boy, I tell you, it's fun. Pretty close, actually, very much, a little bit closer to 21 inches. Let me just bring this way. You could see that it's a little closer to 21 inches than the previous, the Milwaukee. All right, so that's one thing. Now, inside the deck, measurements. Inside the deck, we are looking, let me go in here in the middle. Actually, 21 3/4, sorry. All right, so 21 3/4 inside the deck. And this is a lip, so you really can't look at the lip, but the lip is 23.5 inches in the lip, but this is a lip, so don't worry about that. So interesting. I've mowed with both of these mowers, so you do have a gap here where you'll get some, you know, again, it's not, it's a removable mulch plug, you know, so I don't see that it's going through though. So maybe there won't be much grass going through because it looks pretty close. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, this again sticking up. All right, like that. So not bad. No one's perfect. Looks pretty good. Let's lay this down and take a peek and see if we see any wires. One thing that's pretty interesting, nothing major. The flap hangs out at the end here, right, and goes past the wheels, which is fine. And gets screwed on. Not bad. And it actually is a little weighted. I like that. This one here doesn't go past the wheels, but it does cover this compartment here where the motor and all that is, right? So it's interesting. This one leaves it open, but probably does a better job. This one doesn't. It's a little light flap. Well, let's look at this here real quick. So start off, zoom in a little bit here, take a peek. You could see some covered wires here. Let's open up the flap, and there's your rear wheel motor. They even covered this, which is interesting. So this is the axle. That's not bad. That's nice, actually. So this is pretty closed up, I'll tell you. I don't see anything. Boy, let me tell you, they did duties here, huh? You could see the spring for the back wheels. That's a spring for the back wheels. But wow, a nicer job here on the EGO for sure. I'm going to go ahead and put the mulch plugs in, the baggers, you know, so you could see what that looks like. But one thing I wanted to show you, which concerns me, and I hope this isn't affected when I really start looking at mulching, but the door here for the Milwaukee, it kind of looks like it has a gap, you know? Let me zoom out a little bit more. You know what I mean? So it just feels like it's got a gap, like it doesn't close all the way. Now, it does have this here that sticks out on the mulch plug, and it's got this round circle, as you can see, that it's supposed to go in. And if I feel it, it goes in, but it's like this hole is much bigger than that hole, and so it doesn't really grab. So I don't like this bounce, first of all. And if I go like this, I just want you to see. Now, look at EGO for a second. All right. So it has a stronger spring. First of all, this thing goes right on. It doesn't have a gap. You understand? If I open this up, it closes. Now, I believe this has, I don't know if this has a mechanism that holds here with the mulch plug. Let me check real quick and come right back. So here's the mulch plug, and it's in, you know what I mean? It's in all the way. It's got this that sticks up, all right? And I don't really feel anything that grabs onto that, but I think it pushes hard against it. You know what I mean? It closes all the way. Like this guy, it doesn't close all the way. You see me pushing this? You see me pushing this? That concerns me with mulching, but we'll find out. All right, we'll start with the EGO. And again, no rear side discharge yet. I don't know if I'm going to have it by the time I finish this video. But let me zoom out. You could see the hole there. And then this is how it goes in. All right, just kind of take it. Slides right in really easy. And looks good. You know, and I got these little holes on top. I don't know if that'll affect grass coming through. I'm not sure. But it looks pretty darn good. And I like the door. That holds on. Let's do this one. So this is the rear side discharge. Excuse me. Yeah, the mulch plug. I'll be okay. It's the mulch plug. So I'm going to hold this open. All right. And take this. Put it inside, and it grabs on here, It looks okay. You know, hard to tell. Looks okay. But my concern is this thing has too much of a gap. And even though it's in the hole, and I can feel it in the hole, I don't like that. But we'll find out. Now let's go ahead and put on the rear side discharge that we get with the Milwaukee. So we're going to take this out, and you'll see here that there are arrows telling you where to put this, and there you go. So that should be pretty easy. So and by the way, it does get tucked under the bar. So you see that bar there? It's going to get tucked under the bar. All right, in. That's it. Lays down. This holds it on, and now you'll be able to rear side discharge. See, just like that. It'll come out this side as you're walking forward. Let's go ahead and put the baggers on. Now this is 2.5 bushels, and that's 2 bushels, just so you'll know. So EGO gives you a bag with a little bit more capacity. All right. Now, some things that are important to show is the bagger will rest over here. And the bagger does have metal, so that's important. So as we open this up, you're going to take the bagger, put it on like so, and then this piece here should help from grass coming out. So it lays on top, and you really shouldn't get much leakage. And this is, again, nice and stiff and strong. So I like that. Well, let's go ahead and do the Milwaukee. All right. Again, let's take a look. We've got metal. That's good. And we've got metal. So we're going to open this up, grab our bagger, put it on like so, and you can see there. It grabs on, and it's kind of a closed bag, right? So you don't have that opening here, which maybe is good. Whereas with the EGO, I don't know why they do it. There's got to be a reason. But there's a compartment here, but again, this little piece here kind of covers it and closes it, and there you go. You got your baggers on. Shoo, 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 shoo. Shoo, 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 shoo. Oh man, middle of the video. I hope you're using those timestamps. This fight is still on. Shoo, 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 shoo. We're gonna now go over something you're gonna use often, and that is adjusting the height of your deck depending on how short or long you want your grass to be. So I'm going to start off here with the EGO, and then we'll go to the Milwaukee. Now, EGO updated the way they adjust the height of their deck. They used to have the one lever, which I really liked. Now they have a back lever for both back wheels, and they have a front lever for both front wheels to adjust the deck and all. Now, it does take some strength sometimes, you know what I mean? So again, if you're a little older, you know, it can be a little challenge, but you could do it. You could do it. One thing that EGO did in their manual was they broke down what all 8 settings are. So, as you can see here, there's actually 8 adjustment settings for the front and the back. Now, Milwaukee didn't do that, so they just said 1 to 4. I checked the manual and I checked the website. So, I can't give you what number 2 or number 3 means. And that would have been nice, because we're going to be doing a cutting demo. So, I'm going to have to play with that. But EGO on setting number 1 is actually 1 inch. That would be a 1 inch cut. Setting number 2 is 1 3/8. Setting number 3 is 1 3/4. Setting number 4 is 2 inches. Setting number 5 is 2.5 inches. Setting number 6 is 3 inches. Setting number 7 is 3.5 inches, and setting number 8 is a 4-inch cut. All right. Now, demonstrating this, basically, you know, and you'll probably do this on grass more than you'll do it on concrete, but you just pull this lever back. And this is a steel system here. I mean, you know, it's really strong stuff, as you can see. They didn't mess around. They just want this to last for you. But you basically grab this and you pull it out. And then you just kind of say, you know what, I want to go up to 8, or I want to go all the way down to, you know, maybe 1. And again, it does hold. So as you can see, I'm holding this to bring it down all the way to a 1. All right. So pretty interesting system. We're going to leave it at the top for now. The back, similar experience. All right. So you can see here. Again, really thick metal, no messing around. And as you can see, I just pulled it out and it dropped. So you almost have to hold it and adjust it the way you want it. Now the back actually is a little easier because the weight is on, you know, the back more than the front. So it will help you make the setting adjustments. Let's go ahead and check out the Milwaukee. Let's go ahead and check out the Milwaukee. Now this has 7 settings. 1 all the way to 7. And it's got some deep grooves, so this really shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to hold on to the bar here, but basically you just kind of pull this out, and it really is easy to adjust. You know, I mean, initially you can kind of do it without holding, you know, 4, and then you're starting to hold some of the weight, 5, 6, and 7. I like that. I like the 1 lever, I'll be honest with you. You know? One thing I noticed also looking at the deck is EGO has actually added a metal, you know, this must be steel, but it's a metal protection bar. I guess as you go and rub against some things. There's the EGO brand there. And, you know, I don't see that on the Milwaukee. Does it matter? It is sticking out. That is steel. That's aluminum, you know. But I thought I'd mention that. We're going to take some time and just go over controls real quick. Now, let's start off with lights, all right? Now, you probably already saw the light demo earlier. But to turn the lights on, you've got a little button here. This is actually for Bluetooth as well as the lights. Later on, we're going to do the Bluetooth demo, so you could see the app real quick, nothing in depth. But if I want to turn the lights on, I just click on this here. And if I want to turn the lights on here, here's the light button here. And let's go take a look at what they look like in the daytime. And oh, by the way, check this out. You can see the fuel gauge, right? Because the lights are on. And you can see the fuel gauge because the lights are on. So pretty cool. But as you can see here, the Milwaukee's got 3 LEDs on the sides, another 3 LEDs for a total of 12. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So 12 LED lights. All right. EGO's got 6 LEDs, 3 on each side, surrounded by some green. Of course, the EGO color. But yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, let's continue on with controls. So self-propel. On the EGO, you've got these two, right? So you can be holding it with your left hand or holding it with your right. And you've got a knob here to adjust, you know, how fast you want it to go. So down is off. And you can hear the motorcycles, but you hear the clicking, right? So you can adjust how fast you want. So off, or, you know, maybe slow, medium. So that's that there. On this system here, you basically have a rolly, which, again, rabbit, turtle. So, you know, the faster you want it, you bring it all the way up. Now, one thing that's interesting with this one is it doesn't click. So I'm wondering if you can have 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So you might be able to do that. So that's self-propel. Now, blade speed. All right. Well, let's talk about turning this on first of all. So if I wanted to start this, I just have to pull the blade down and press the button. Now in the beginning, it starts at 3,300 RPM in the beginning, and then it settles down. So that's what that does, to kind of cut through whatever you're jumping on your grass. EGO has 3 settings. So you could see here that you can have it on Eco, Normal, or Turbo. All right. So, you know, you just basically adjust this before you start. So let's just put it on Normal. And all I need to do is push this button down, pull the lever. All right, and this actually stops pretty quick. This has a little delay when it stops, I noticed. But let's now talk about turbo. They call it high lift mode on this one, I believe. So there's a button here that when you click on high lift mode, and what we'll do is let's do this without and with. So this, right now, high lift mode is off. I'm going to pull the lever down. All right, let's turn on high lift mode. The light turns white. Now, again, the delay, as you can see, turning off is interesting. But, you know, that was definitely, you know, 3,300 RPM. That's pretty amazing, right? When you need to push through, it's nice to be able to do that. Now, EGO does that too, which is nice. Finally, you actually have a turbo button. So let's put this on EGO for a minute. Change it to normal. And change it to turbo. Now it's interesting with turbo, it starts off a little slower and then you hear it, right? You heard the difference between turbo. So that was pretty interesting. So, you know, again, really nice to know these guys can go on the turbo mode when you need it, when you got that real thick grass. So I am liking it, man. When you're done putting these in storage mode, I'd have to say the EGO is a little easier. You just grab this lever. Your handle locks into position. You grab this and you throw it where you want to, and it does lean on the steel here, you know, so it's just leaning on there, nothing else. Okay, on both sides you can see. Now let's do the Milwaukee. Now the only reason why Milwaukee is a little harder is because you have to unlatch on each side, right? So if I unlatch that one and this one and I close it, I can't just lift it. I have to make sure that these pins are in on both sides. All right, and then I can lift it and put it where it needs to go. Now, no issue. I thought maybe it was rubbing on this, and maybe it is actually. So the bottom of the handle, so it's using this as a kickstand. This is touching the ground, and on the other side, you know, not bad. And by the way, the batteries are out of these mowers, of course. Always should be showing you that. But anytime you go to lift a mower, you want to make sure there's no battery inside. So there you go. They're both in storage mode. Very easy. No issues. Very stable. So quick demo of just the brightness of the LEDs on the batteries. Let me just do this one. So you could see that's kind of dull even if I move it up this way. Again, it works. It does its job. All right, but just wanted to show you the LEDs on the battery. This is the dual battery charger, charging both the batteries. And here is how the 700 watt charger charges. It's definitely nice to have a fuel gauge. Now let me take a moment and just show you the app and the smart charger. So when I put this on the smart charger, it'll turn on, it'll start charging. Okay? So give it a moment. And what I'll do is I'll go in the EGO app. Now, you'll notice that is blue. The reason why that's blue and solid blue is because it's already connected to my app. All right, a part of the setup is going to be holding this button down until it flashes and then connecting it to your EGO app. But as you can see here, it's connected, 35% charge, Wi-Fi. Again, it only connects via Wi-Fi, not Bluetooth. If you click on this, it'll actually show you, again, the battery level by gauge. You can set a charge complete reminder. You can also adjust where you want your reminder. Do I want it at 50%? Do I want it at 100%? And that's really it. That is the smartness in the smart charger and the EGO app. Alright, so guys, real quick, I want to show you that you can connect this mower to your phone via Bluetooth. Alright, now there's two EGO apps. You'll see here on this phone we have, and sorry about the glare, we've got the EGO Connect app, and then we've got the EGO Power Plus app. So we've got two apps. Now the EGO Power Plus app is the standard app for all the tools. The EGO Connect app, I guess they're going to start using it for certain tools. Like this is the first tool I know of that you're going to be using, the EGO Connect app. All right. So again, sorry about the reflection. But if I open up EGO Connect, the Bluetooth light turns on because we already paired it. Now to pair this, all you have to do is basically press the green button so that the panel lights up. Then you're going to hold this down for about 3 seconds until you see the blue light flashing. And then you would go to Add Tool in the menu. And you'll see here, this is the menu. So it's already got this tool, but you would hit Add Tool in the upper right-hand corner. And then, you know, it might have you press this button again and make it flash again throughout the process, so be aware. But it does connect easily and quickly. And if we go in here, I will show you what we have. All right, so we've got battery percentage. We got 90% on the battery. We've got 0 days since last mow. So that's because we mowed today. And we've got it says there's an update available. So if we click this, there's actually an update, I guess, for, I don't know if it's the mower or something, but I'm going to click this. Please make sure the battery is 30%. All right, we're going to hit update. And we're actually downloading firmware to the mower. Check that out. We're doing that live. Look at this. So it's actually doing a firmware update as we do the video. Now we've got a solid blue light, which means we are connected. And we are 40-something% with the firmware update. We've got a 90% battery, so that's okay. And I'm very interested in seeing what the firmware, I don't know what the firmware is going to do. Maybe it updates the interface also on the app. But we're almost done. Might as well do it together. All right. 100%. So now it's updating the device. So you see this flashing light? It's actually updating the device. And we are 50% done, 60% done. So the device is being updated. All right, it's done. It says update is successful. Hit done. And now, again, the menu, just real quick, 90% battery. 0 days since last mow. That's because we mowed today. I'm sorry about the glare, guys. Self-propel speed, you can adjust the self-propel speed on the screen here, but I do believe that you have to have it turned on here, so that's interesting. Again, you do have this super turbo mode, and EGO posted something in the Facebook chat. I'm going to grab that and post it on the video, because they say that you shouldn't really use this, but there's a specific reason why. So I'm like, why do we have it? Again, we love turbo, right? We all love turbo. Usage history, you'll have usage history. And then if you go in the side menu, you have the device name. You can change that. Device notifications, I don't have any. It says server error. Registered, it's showing unregistered, but it is registered. Any updates available, you've got that. So again, we're updated because we did it in the video. Product information, if you want the manual or you want specs, you can get that. You can see all of that, the facts, the tech specs, etc. About, model numbers, firmware updates, stuff like that, accessories, a mower phone holder, and you can delete the device. So, not bad. Guys, sorry about the glare. If you have any questions, let me know. I won't be using this. I don't need it. I like cool stuff, but I don't see the value in this. There's a grass ruler also. I didn't show you that, but if you click this and you put your phone in the grass, I guess you can really adjust it to how many inches, you know, it's interesting. Oh, and you know what's funny about that is if you adjust it, it actually tells you what you need to do, what gear you need to put it in. Okay, so that's kind of funky. All right, but that's a quick look at the Smart app for the new LM2200 SP and LM2206 SP.
Round 4. Self-propel.
Quick demo on self-propel, and again, we're going to have a full demonstration of self-propel in the video. We're going to be doing slow, and then we're going to be doing fast, so you can actually see the difference, right? Because one of these is faster than the other. But self-propel, so I'm going to turn this on the slowest, and then all I need to do, I don't have to engage the blade. I just push this, and it goes, right? So as long as I hold on to that, it goes. If I go rabbit, right, all I need to do is pull the lever in, and I can either use this or this. It's the same, right? So again, really, really nice. Self-propel can definitely help you. Again, see our full demo of self-propel. This will be on the slowest speed. Okay. Very good. This is going to be on the fastest speed. Wish me luck. Okay. All right. This will be on the slowest speed. Go ahead. This one's going to be on the fastest speed. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Round 5. Let's cut it up.
Now, we're going to be starting our cutting demos soon. But one thing, the EGO is 91 pounds with the batteries. The Milwaukee is 85 pounds with the batteries. So, aluminum, but definitely heavier. And you can notice that. And I'll tell you, coming from a select cut, polycarbonate deck, you're going to notice it. This is definitely heavier. Now, people want that because they want the heavier deck for the even cut, less bouncing. But one thing I'll tell you too, and I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate it in this video, but I've used this for a while now, and I've used this for a while for sure because I've had it for a while. This doesn't engage when you pull back. So while I'm mowing, it will not engage. So let me just start this. It just doesn't engage when I pull it back. EGO mowers, it's a standard. Now, I don't know if I'll do it right now, but every one of my EGO mowers, including this one, engages when you pull back. Most of the time, not all the time. So, start it up. Again, it didn't do it this time, but I will tell you probably 30% of the time the motor engages and you have to kind of like push it forward and pull it back for it to stop. Sometimes you have to stop in order to make it stop. It bothers me. It's a pain in the you-know-what, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that the Milwaukee doesn't do that. All right, we're going to do a mulch cut. Now this is kind of a maintenance cut, someone that just cuts a little off the lawn. Okay, now we have the EGO set on setting number 6. And we have the Milwaukee set on setting number 5, if I can get the camera where it needs to be. All right, now we have about 4 inches of grass. All right, we'll take a look at our grass gauge. Let's see. We've got 4 inches of grass. Could be a drop more. All right. So let's take this out. And let's go ahead and see how they mulch. All right, we're going to start on the EGO. What we're going to do, to be fair, is I'm going to put this on normal. All right. I think normal's fair. So I got it on normal, and that one we're not going to put the high lift mode on. All right, no self-propel. As you can see, it caught some grass, it cut it, no issues. Okay, let's take this off. We'll take a quick look. Again, it's only a maintenance cut, so we really should have minimal mulch on here, so you could see the cut. And let me just kind of look from here. Now, let's look at this too. I always like looking at is there anything that escapes? Look at that. So it's got no grass leakage. I mean, of course there's grass down here on that thing, but look at that. Okay, that's good news. Let's look at the cut. And not bad. I don't really see any big pieces sticking up. I do see some mulch, right? Actually, Minimal mulch. I mean, it's just some grass that's laying down. All right, I'm just kind of walking backwards. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. It is a 4-inch to 3-inch cut. So, all right. Oh, not too bad. I don't see anything really sticking out of the ordinary. That's fine. That's fine. Let's go ahead and do the Milwaukee. Go ahead, pull this back. See how the mower immediately goes to 3,300 RPM and then goes back down. All right, let's cut. No self-propel. Okay. Now, I don't know, that looks a little more than usual. This was a concern. Yeah. See, this mulch plug does no justice because this piece here just kind of hangs open. It doesn't push hard enough against the mulch plug. And so you see this. This is grass leakage. That's what that is. All right. If I pull this open, let me just adjust the camera a little bit, but if I pull this open, I mean, you could see it, right? That's stuff that's just being pushed out. So not happy with that. All right, no good, but we'll put this back in and we'll close this. We'll take a look at the cut. But, I mean, if it's not gonna cut up the grass and mulch up the grass, that's, you know, not going to be good if it's coming out of the back. That's a lot. That's a lot. Let's take a look at the cut. Cut seems okay. It seems the same as EGO's. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. We didn't cut too short. Right? We just took an inch off. That's a maintenance cut. Okay, kind of where we started, but yeah. So, you know, you could see that this is a little. They both took off a little bit, and there's nothing wrong. The mulch cuts came out okay, considering the grass leakage in that guy. I can't believe it. All right, we're gonna do a bagging test now. All right, it's time for a bagging cut. As you can see, the mulch plugs are out. Now we put the EGO down because we're down at 2 inches now. All right, should be setting number 4. All right, setting number 4 is 2 inches of grass. Now I brought the Milwaukee down to setting number 4. Okay, I think that's fair. Just looking at the deck height. You know, I want to make sure I'm cutting these nice and even. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do too, since we're bagging, is we're going to turn on the high lift mode so we get the most suction since we're not using high lift blades. And we're going to turn on turbo on this guy. So we're going to put turbo on. So turbo and high lift should be pretty fair. And let's start off with the EGO, and then we'll compare what we have in the bags. All right. Oh, it choked. Interesting. All right, one more time. Wow, I have to lift the EGO. All right. right, that is lower. God, what I do to my lawn for my subscribers. So we just went from 4 inches, just so you'll know, on this side to 2. All right, so this is definitely a more noticeable cut. Now I'm going to do both and then we'll compare. It's time for the Milwaukee, and we're going to put the high lift on. All right, the high lift is on before we turn the lights on before for some reason, but the high lift is on, so this should not choke. Let's go ahead and pull this down. It's interesting with that delay, you know. But, all right, we're going to kind of come back for a minute because you could see here the center, and then you can see where we started with both of these mowers. So, let's do EGO, I guess, for now. Looks, in a general sense, looks pretty clean. No problems so far. Nothing, no issues. No sticking up grass. All right, and then let's pull this back and see if we have any, you know, clumps or anything. But no, just nice and clean. Okay, go back and check out Milwaukee. All right, Milwaukee EGO. All right, Milwaukee, no issues, looks good. Right, I mean, again, I don't see, looks good, nothing sticking up. Okay, let's see if we have any junk in the front. Nope, no issues there. All right, we're going to take the bags off, and then we're just going to kind of look at the, since it did cut up the grass right before it kind of threw it in the bag, we're going to go ahead and take these bags off and look at the grass. Start with Milwaukee. All right, grab what we got. Take EGO. Again, what we got. Take these two and let's compare. So here you go. We've got EGO on the right, Milwaukee on the left. EGO pile looks a little higher. Just a little higher and a little bigger. So if I go like this in general, and then I go like this, all right, not majorly, but let's look at the height of the piles, and then we'll take a look at some of the pieces. But there's your height, and there is your height. So let's take a look at some stuff here. Let's just take a peek and see at the end of the day a sample batch. Okay, I don't see honestly any big pieces. I mean, that's a really good cutting going on before it goes into the bag. Honestly, that's, again, we're talking, we cut 2 inches off. We went from 4 inches to 2 inches. I mean, that's probably the biggest one I've seen right there, right? But that's really good. Let's take a look at Milwaukee. Again, just grab some off the top, throw it here, and you know, again, it looks really good. You know, take a little more off the top. You know, really good. I'd say this is good. You know, so they both did good on the mulching. Not bad. EGO did choke a little bit. I had to lift it. That's interesting. We're going to do another maintenance cut. Again, just another example All right, we've got about 4 inches on this lawn. We're going to go down to 3.5 inches. So just a maintenance cut to see the mulch and again compare both mowers. Now this is what we're dealing with. We're going to do this part of the lawn. Okay, we're just going to do this part. And on the right we'll do the EGO, and on the left we'll do the Milwaukee. And then we'll take a nice look. So we've got the EGO on setting number 7 in the front and the back. And we've got setting number 6 for the Milwaukee from 7 to 6. So this is 3.5 inches, and that's what we're going to do. Start off with the EGO. Let's go to the Milwaukee now. Now, before I take a quick look, there is a middle section I left alone. Now, the Milwaukee is not on high lift mode, and the EGO is on normal mode. And of course, if I didn't mention it earlier, the blades were sharpened for all the cutting tests. All right, so let's take a look. So Milwaukee's on this side, EGO's on this side. I've got a strip of grass in the middle that I didn't cut. So let's just kind of look at the EGO side, and let me do this a little differently. I'm going to start here in the back. Just kind of look. Again, that's the middle section there. Right, but just looking, right, you took a 1/2 inch of grass off. And honestly, really nice. I got no complaints. Again, I don't see anything sticking out that would make me go, ooh, that doesn't look good. Again, these are 2 top-notch mowers. And just looking at this section, a nice big section. And yeah, I like it. I like it. I better like it for that much money, huh? You know, I have to tell you too, if you're listening to this, seriously, if you get an LM 2135 SP, if you're an EGO person, believe me, that still does a really good job. It's always about the sharpening of the blades. So the EGO side looks good. And let's look at the Milwaukee side. All right, nice big section here. Yeah, again, really looks good. Grass is growing in good. The time of the year. I hope we have a good summer. Some summers are so hot you just can't do anything with the lawn. But this guy's really looks good. I can't complain. Yep. Yep. I like it. I like it, I'll tell you. I really, really like it. That's good for me. All right, we're doing a noise level test now. We're going to start close, and then the next one I'm going to do is 20 feet away. So you get 2 samplings. But let me be quiet for a moment so you can see the meter. There you go. All right, I am 20 feet away from the mowers. I'm going to have them start, again, the Milwaukee, and we'll see how it sounds. We're going to start with the EGO now. Now we'll do the 20 foot away. All right, 20 feet away from the EGO. All right, the next test I'm going to be doing is going to be actual mowing, cutting with cell Propel on, and we're going to check the sound level. Now, the reason why I'm doing this year is there was rumor that the EGO, the new EGO Aluminum Deck with cell Propel while it's cutting has an annoying sound. To some people, that was unbearing. So I'm just going to do this extra test. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. There you go. So now it's time for the pros and the cons. Now, I always start with the cons, and then I end with the pros, all right? There's a lot of cons and a lot of pros, I'll be honest with you. And we're going to start off with the Milwaukee, all right? Let me just double check my information. Yep, we're going to start off with the Milwaukee cons. I'll go to the EGO cons right after that. Some will obviously overlap, definitely. So Milwaukee, the biggest con I'm disappointed in, and I hope you saw this in the video, but the back cover that actually holds the mulch plug in place, it's just not strong enough. And so what happens is grass leakage comes out. Now, I don't remember this on my last head-to-head with EGO and Milwaukee, but this time around, this is very noticeable. And I will tell you, I'm going to be honest with you in telling you that I gave my previous Milwaukee mower away to a friend that needed it. So I ended up buying a brand new one for this video. All right. I mean, you're talking $1,099, right? I mean, it's $1,100, but that is one of the biggest cons. You know, grass leakage definitely on the back cover. So go back and check out the cutting videos. The battery cover needs to be held open. So when you lift the battery cover, you know, you have to hold that open in order to put the battery in. So it is what it is. No big deal there. The handle definitely takes a little more work to open and close, especially in comparison to the EGO, right? You got to open latches, you got to close latches, stuff like that. You have to do that with the Milwaukee. The torque is 10 foot-pounds of torque. EGO is 11.1. Now, look, is that a con? I mean, 10 foot-pounds of torque is amazing. But when you compare these two, 11.1 foot-pounds of torque is going to make a difference down the road with those big loads. Milwaukee only has a 3-year warranty on the battery and the mower. So that's a con, all right? Because EGO's got a 5-year on both. We'll talk more about that. Milwaukee's grass catcher is a 2-bushel, and EGO's is 2.5 bushel. So you can hold more grass in the EGO, especially when you're bagging, right? Milwaukee's battery has 4 bars for the fuel gauge, and EGO's got 5. So you really know more about where your battery's at. You know, the more bars you're going to have, it'll tell you 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, right? Versus 20, 40, 60, 80, or really 25, 50, 75, 100. You know, so that's kind of what you know with the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee deck is steel, so it can rust over time, right? And the Milwaukee maxes out at 3,300 RPM. Again, very respectful. EGO is just a little bit stronger at 3,350 RPM. I mean, not a huge difference. But again, when you want to know those pros and those cons, I got to tell you that. Let's talk about EGO's cons. All right, let's talk about EGO's cons. All right, the first one, and again, we're comparing these. The first one is height adjustment. On the EGO, you've got a front latch and you've got a back latch, right? Milwaukee, you got one lever. Much easier. I will tell you also, this requires more strength. It's made well. It's got to be steel. You know, the pieces themselves have to be steel, but it takes some strength. It's definitely harder. So that's a con for EGO. Now, EGO's battery gauge, you can see it through the battery cover, right? But you can't see it as good as the Milwaukee battery gauge. So, you know, that's a con for EGO when we're comparing that. EGO's lights, they do well. The front LED lights do well, but they're not as bright as the Milwaukee's. All right. Here's the other thing. EGO's is definitely louder when you're mowing with self-propel. It has a high-pitched sound. You're going to have to go back to the noise test to check that out, but it is definitely louder. You have to look at the decibels to see that. EGO also costs more. So EGO's $11.99, and we're talking regular price, and Milwaukee's $1,099 regular price. So you're paying $100 more for the EGO. And the EGO doesn't come with a rear side discharge, and the Milwaukee does. And by the way, if you look at the EGO part list, they actually make a part list on their website, you'll see that there's actually a rear side discharge for this mower, but it hasn't been produced. I actually called EGO, and you know, I talked to them about this, and they told me, yeah, it's not being produced at this time. I know it's on the part list. I'm like, okay, interesting, right? EGO's self-propel maxes out at 3.1 miles per hour. Milwaukee's is at 4 miles per hour. So definitely faster self-propel. And EGO is 6 pounds heavier than the Milwaukee with the batteries, right? I mean, you're going to use this with the batteries. EGO is 91 pounds with the batteries. Milwaukee is 85 pounds with the batteries. Interesting. All right, here's pros, right? Now you're going to see similarities, right? You know, but how this is how we're doing it. So, Milwaukee pros, one-hand height adjustment, love it. It works. It's smooth. It doesn't come out. And it's not hard from setting 1 to setting 7. Works really good. One lever. Milwaukee, their battery gauge on the back of the mower is super bright, even in sunlight, and it's closer to you. So instead of it being in the battery compartment, you've got it in the back of the mower. Check that out in the video. We talked about that. Milwaukee's lights are also brighter. They brighten up the immediate area because they're on the sides and then they're in the front. So you've got 4 sets of lights. There are 3 LEDs in each corner. That's 12 LEDs. So brighter lights, again, not important for some. For other people, maybe that might be important. Milwaukee also offers, pretty solid power, I must say. It was a con, but it's still, one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up is because when you turn the Milwaukee on, every time in the beginning, it's 3,300 RPMs. Then it goes down a little bit. So it immediately tries to help you by starting at 3,300 RPM. So I like that. And hey, Milwaukee is compatible with over 250 plus M18 tools. Now, the Milwaukee deck is very smooth, and you should be able to produce solid mulching over time, so I like that. Milwaukee's self-propel is 4 miles per hour, right? EGO's is 3.1. Milwaukee mower is lighter. It's 85 pounds with the batteries versus 91 pounds with the batteries. Think about that. That's steel, that's aluminum. But this is actually 6 pounds lighter. And lastly, if you're into power tools, Milwaukee offers, more power tools and hand tools on their platform. That's why their number's so high, 250 plus, because that M18 battery, a lot of folks in construction and stuff like that use those tools. Now let's go ahead and cover EGO. Now I will say EGO does have more pros if I look at the list. So let me start off. Number 1, the battery cover stays open, so you can take the battery out, put it in. I like that. It's not a major feature, but I like that. It's just convenient. EGO's control panel does give you more options. So you can go eco, you can go normal, or you can go turbo using their control panels on the handle. So I like that. EGO also includes a free blade. So even though this is a dual blade system, they always give you an additional blade. Now, when I got this, I got a second mulching blade. I don't know why I needed 2 mulching blades. I really wanted the high lift blade. But I did get that as a bonus by registering the mower. So I'm not really including that, but more that you do get an extra blade in the box, which is nice. EGO's handle opens up much easier and closes much easier. You don't have to turn knobs. You just pull that handle, drop it, pull the handle, bring it back up. So it's just this handle right here on the side. So I really, really like that. Now, EGO also offers more RPM, right? 3,350 RPM, and that turbo button when you need it. So it doesn't start off strong like the Milwaukee, but if you need it, you can turn on turbo mode, and then you can go ahead and start using turbo mode immediately. EGO also offers more torque, 11.1 foot-pounds of torque, versus Milwaukee at 10 foot-pounds of torque. Now, EGO is compatible with over 80 plus tools and growing on their 56-volt platform. EGO's aluminum deck has a limited lifetime warranty, and it won't rust. So that's kind of cool. And EGO's deck is smooth, and that should definitely help with mulching, some really nice mulching quality over time. I like that. Now, EGO has a dual blade system. So that should offer better, mulching, as long as the blades are sharp, it should offer better cutting and better mulching over time. Now, another thing I like about the EGO is they have 5 bars on their battery for their fuel gauge. That's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Milwaukee's only got 4, so it's 25, 50, 75, or 100. Again, not a deal breaker, but something to know. EGO's grass catcher has 2.5 bushels versus Milwaukee's 2 bushels. And EGO's got a 5-year warranty on the deck, and on the tool, because the deck's got a limited lifetime. But the mower is 5-year, and the battery is 5-year, but you have to register the battery. If you don't register the battery, it'll only be a 3-year. That's just how it is. So pretty interesting. All right, so here's some information on runtime that I experienced with the EGO and the Milwaukee. Hit pause if you want to review this. Oh, well, the fight is over. I don't know what those sounds are, but, you know, I just hope that you got some really good information from this video, and maybe you laughed a little bit too and got some entertainment. And if you did, take a moment and give us a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate that. It really helps the channel. By the way, if you want to follow us on social media, I'll put our social media right up top. And just go ahead and find us and you know, follow us. We also have a Tesla channel right up there. If you want to search YouTube at My Tesla Journey 1, we're starting to put up some videos. We've got a Tesla for almost, well, a little over a year now. We've got about 21,000 miles, and we're starting to share, you know, videos. We're doing some accessory reviews right now, nothing major. And by the way, if you want, I'll put some videos here on the right side. And if you want to follow us and subscribe here at our channel, go ahead and click that round techmadeezy logo, and you'll be able to subscribe and join the family. Guys, thanks so much. I'll see you at the next head-to-head.